one thing I have heard over and over and over again from so many beautiful, fabulous, talented writers, and that is derogatory comments about their old writing. Now, we all have our old writing, our first writing, some of the sacred things that we only share with like our parents, our siblings, maybe close friends, but we all have something that we wrote back when we were younger or back when we first started trying out the writing craft, something that isn't what we would consider as good as where we are now. I like to think of early writing as something beautifully sacred, something that you can look back on and see how far you've come and how beautiful a beginning that was, that it was the start of something that was positive and right and good, something that was the start of a fulfilling, beautiful hobby, career, thing you do to relax. If you're someone who loves writing, enjoys it, gets fulfillment out of it, those early documents that you penned when you were maybe a young teenager or maybe even younger than that, maybe older than that, maybe it's something you wrote a year ago. Your early writings are something precious. They're something that you can look back on and see, wow, I'm so glad I started this journey. But a lot of people don't really look at their early writing like this. I've heard so many people, so many writers say like, oh my gosh, my early writing is so bad, I can't stand it. Don't read that. Oh my gosh, don't go back on the, my blog or that fan fiction website and read my early work because it is terrible. That is such a bad way, a sad way really, to look at your early writing. So let's talk a bit about why we should have a bit of a brighter view in how we look at the things we wrote way back when. So I'm really big into hiking. I love being outside. I love climbing rocks, climbing mountains, being lost in the woods for hours at a time. It's my thing. I enjoy it. When I started on a hiking trail, I started at a trailhead. So the very beginning of the trail, where you usually park your car, get your, sunblock or bug spray on and head out into the woods. Hours later, you're going to find yourself at some beautiful vista, most likely overlooking mountains or something like that, or maybe at a cool lake or stream, or maybe just out in the woods somewhere. You're somewhere totally new, somewhere fulfilling and beautiful. You're going to be in a completely different place than where you started. Now, I would never at any point in a hike stop, look back over my shoulder towards the trailhead and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I started there. Like, that is so lame and immature, and I can't believe I don't even want to talk about being at the trailhead because that was yikes, I was so far behind. Who says that? We don't say that because the trailhead was the outset of the journey. The trailhead was the place we were excited to get to so we could start on this journey in the first place. The trailhead is sacred. It is sacred. And that's what your first writing is like. That's what your early writing is like. It's like the trailhead. It's like an earlier part of the trail. It's an earlier part in the journey. If you were crossing a stream and there were stones laid out across the stream and you were skipping from stone to stone, you wouldn't skip to the fourth or fifth stone, look back at the first and second and be like, that's so lame. I wish I never even, I wish those were never even there. That's so backwards and lame. They were part of what got you to where you are now. They are part of the journey. They are an important part of the journey, without which you wouldn't be where you are right now. Yes, of course, the writing might be of a different quality than what you're writing now. That's very possible. Every time I sit down to write, I feel like I am naturally coming to the experience with more under my belt, with a different perspective. Every single day that we're alive and discovering new things, we're going to come to our notebooks, our laptops, our tablets with new experience to share, and that changes the way we write. So naturally, our writing is more evolved now than it was then. But so what? That doesn't make it good or bad. It just makes it two different things. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of or hide away somewhere. I wrote so many interesting, funny, hilarious, cool things as a young kid that I take great pleasure in looking back on, things I'll dig up and show my husband, and we'll both smile and laugh over how cool it is that I was into creating stories even back then. And sometimes I'll even be inspired by, wow, that's a really interesting way that I saw that thing. I can see myself actually doing a whole nother story about that. There's all kinds of inspiration you can gain from that. But to see a snapshot of how things were, to think I want to forget that part of the journey, is like really not respecting the trailhead, not respecting where you came from, not honoring where you came from. Every part of the journey that you're on, this experience, it deserves your respect and your love. So bring some love to your craft, man. Like, don't look back at your writing, your early stuff, through this lens of like, oh, I was such a bad writer. No, you were a student. You were someone who was just starting out, just embarking on this incredible journey of writing. And when you start to realize that, you start to see that even now you are still a student. I consider myself a student in every single area of my life. There's no part of my life in which I am a master or an expert or an aficionado of any kind. I am someone who is an excited, exhilarated, enthralled student. And that includes my writing. Every single day I know I'm gonna come to the table with new experience, with new insight, seeing things through a slightly different lens. And I can actually take that experience, even the messy learning process, and I can bring that to the table. You know what, when you bring that and you're honest about it, the fact that you're learning, you're not bashing where you were or where you are now, people are going to relate to that. Everyone's gonna relate to that because we're all learning. None of us are experts. So next time you dig up something old of yours that you wrote way back in the day in 6th grade or whatever, maybe come at it with a different perspective. Maybe see that was an inspired moment for you. Think about the feelings you had when you wrote that. Think about the person you were when you wrote that, and how that was a stepping stone to bring you to where you are today. That was a sacred part of the path, and that's something to be absolutely treasured and respected. Keep writing, my friends. Keep respecting the path. Keep digging up old things you wrote and enjoying them and letting them continue to inspire you. If you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe, ring the little bell so you get notifications. YouTube's kind of weird with its algorithms, so if you want to get notified about a new video I make coming up, the bell is a good place to start. And if you'd like to see exclusive content from me about writing, creativity, inspiration, check out my Patreon page with the link below. All kinds of really fun exclusive content and behind the scenes videos, as well as short stories that I don't release anywhere else. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay stoked, and I will see you in the next video.